When God is about to give you something big, there is often a season that does not make sense. It is a season where prayers feel delayed, doors seem closed, and silence becomes familiar. Many people think that blessings always arrive with ease, clarity, and celebration, but very often the greatest gifts are preceded by pressure. This is not because God is unkind, but because preparation always comes before promotion. What God is about to place in your hands requires a heart, a mind, and a character that can carry it without breaking. Before something big happens, life may feel unusually uncomfortable. You may feel stretched beyond what you think you can handle. Relationships change, plans fall apart, and things you once depended on no longer work. This is not random. When God is about to elevate you, He often removes what you lean on, so you learn to lean fully on Him. Comfort can keep you stuck, but discomfort forces growth. God is less concerned with how comfortable you are and more concerned with who you are becoming. There are moments when it feels like everything is being stripped away. Dreams feel distant, confidence feels weak, and faith feels tested. Yet stripping is not punishment, it is preparation. Just as a farmer prunes a tree so it can produce more fruit, God removes what is unnecessary so what remains can grow stronger. What feels like loss may actually be alignment. What feels like delay may actually be protection. God sees what you cannot see, and He knows the weight of what is coming. When God is about to give you something big, He often takes you through a season of waiting. Waiting is one of the hardest disciplines because it forces you to trust without evidence. In waiting, impatience rises, doubt whispers, and fear tries to take control. But waiting refines faith. It teaches you obedience, even when you do not understand the timing. Those who rush ahead of God often mishandle the blessing, but those who wait learn how to walk in wisdom and humility. Sometimes the waiting season is filled with rejection. Doors you expected to open remain shut. Opportunities you prayed for go to someone else. People misunderstand you, overlook you, or walk away from you. Rejection hurts, but it also redirects. God may be protecting you from places that look good but are not meant for you. He may be guiding you towards something far greater than what you initially desired. Rejection is not the end. It is often a sign that God is clearing the path. Another sign that something big is coming is when your faith is challenged like never before. You may pray and feel like nothing is happening. You may believe and still face disappointment. This is where faith matures. Faith is not believing when everything is going right. Faith is trusting when everything is falling apart. God allows faith to be tested so it can be strengthened. Weak faith cannot sustain big blessings, but strong faith can endure responsibility, influence, and success without losing its foundation. When God is preparing to bless you, He often teaches you obedience in small things. The big moments are built on countless small choices. Obedience when no one is watching. Integrity when compromise would be easier. Kindness when bitterness would feel justified. These moments may seem insignificant, but heaven pays attention to them. God watches how you handle little responsibilities before He entrusts you with greater ones. Faithfulness in small things reveals readiness for bigger assignments. There is also often a season of isolation before something big happens. This does not always mean physical loneliness, but emotional and spiritual separation. You may feel like fewer people understand you or support you. God sometimes pulls you aside to speak clearly, to shape your identity, and to strengthen your inner life. Noise can drown out direction, but solitude creates space for clarity. In isolation, you learn who you are without applause and who God is without distractions. When God is about to give you something big, He may also heal you in painful ways. Old wounds resurface, past memories return, and unresolved emotions come to the surface. This can feel overwhelming, but healing must happen before elevation. Unhealed pain can sabotage future blessings. God does not want your past to poison your future. He brings hidden hurts into the light, not to shame you, but to free you. Another sign is increased resistance. When you commit to growth, challenges often intensify. Fear grows louder, temptation becomes stronger, and discouragement feels heavier. This does not mean you are doing something wrong. It often means you are moving in the right direction. Resistance shows that progress is happening. If nothing were changing, there would be no opposition. Stand firm, because storms often rise right before breakthrough. When God is about to give you something big, your perspective begins to change. You start seeing life differently. Things that once excited you no longer satisfy you. You develop a deeper hunger for purpose rather than pleasure. Your prayers shift from asking only for comfort to asking for direction and impact. This shift shows maturity. God does not bless merely to impress others. He blesses to fulfill purpose. There are moments when obedience will cost you. You may have to walk away from habits, environments, or relationships that no longer align with where God is taking you. Letting go is hard, but holding on can be harder. God never asks you to release something without planning to replace it with something better. Trust that what you release is nothing compared to what you are about to receive. When the blessing finally arrives, it may not look exactly like you imagined. God's plans often exceed human expectations, but they also challenge them. The blessing may come with responsibility, sacrifice, and continued growth. Big blessings are not just gifts. They are assignments. They require wisdom, humility, and dependence on God. That is why preparation is necessary. Remember that God's timing is intentional. Delay does not mean denial. Silence does not mean absence. God works in ways you cannot see, arranging details you cannot control. What feels like a setback may be setting the stage for something greater than you ever prayed for. Trust the process, even when you do not understand it. When God is about to give you something big, He is shaping you into someone who can carry it well. He is building strength where there was weakness, faith where there was fear, and wisdom where there was impatience. Do not despise the process, because the process protects the promise. Stay faithful in the waiting. Stay obedient in the uncertainty. Stay humble in the growth. What God has prepared for you will arrive at the right moment, in the right way, and for the right purpose. And when it does, you will realize that every tear, every prayer, every moment of doubt was not wasted. It was all part of becoming ready for something big. When God is about to give you something big, He often allows discomfort and pressure to enter your life in ways you did not expect. Life may suddenly feel heavier, more demanding, and more uncertain. Situations that once felt manageable begin to test your limits, and you may wonder why things have become harder instead of easier. Yet this season is not meant to break you. It is meant to build you. Growth does not happen in comfort zones. Strength is not developed in ease. What feels like pressure is often preparation in disguise. Discomfort has a way of revealing what is truly inside you. When everything is calm, faith can remain untested, patience unchallenged, and character unproven. But when pressure comes, it exposes weaknesses that need strengthening and habits that need refining. God allows these moments not to embarrass you, but to mature you. Just as muscles grow through resistance, your spiritual and emotional strength grows when life pushes back. The pressure you feel is shaping your ability to carry what is coming next. In this season, your faith may feel stretched beyond what is familiar. You may pray more deeply, question more honestly, and depend more fully on God than ever before. This stretching is necessary. Small faith cannot sustain big blessings. If God were to give you something great without first deepening your trust in Him, the weight of it could overwhelm you. So He allows circumstances that force you to rely on Him rather than your own understanding. Patience is also refined through discomfort. Waiting while under pressure is one of the hardest lessons to learn. You may want quick relief, fast answers, or immediate change, but God often works slowly and intentionally. Patience teaches you endurance. It trains your heart to remain steady even when outcomes are uncertain. What you learn while waiting under pressure will protect you when you step into greater responsibility. Character is perhaps the most important thing being shaped during this time. Pressure reveals how you respond when things do not go your way. Do you remain faithful or become bitter? Do you stay obedient or look for shortcuts? God cares deeply about who you are becoming, not just what you are receiving. A big blessing placed in unprepared hands can lead to pride, fear, or collapse. That is why God focuses on building integrity, humility, and resilience before releasing increase. What feels overwhelming now may actually be evidence that you are growing. The weight you are carrying is strengthening your capacity. God knows exactly how much pressure you can handle, and He measures it carefully. He is not careless with your life. Every challenge has a purpose, and every moment of discomfort is shaping you for what lies ahead. There is usually a season of waiting and silence before a major blessing, and this season can feel more challenging than any visible struggle. When prayers seem unanswered and God feels quiet, it is easy to assume that nothing is happening. Yet silence does not mean absence. Often God does His deepest work when there are no outward signs to reassure you. In this quiet space, you are invited to trust Him without evidence, without timelines, and without guarantees. Waiting strips away the need for control. When answers are delayed, you can no longer rely on your own plans or understanding. You are forced to surrender outcomes and depend fully on God's wisdom. This kind of trust is not built overnight. It grows slowly, through moments of doubt, persistence in prayer, and choosing faith even when emotions suggest otherwise. Trusting God without signs teaches you to walk by faith rather than by sight, which is essential when you are called to carry something greater. Silence also exposes the true condition of the heart. When God is quiet, motivations are revealed. Are you faithful only when blessings are visible, or are you committed even when there is no immediate reward? Waiting purifies intention. It teaches you to seek God for who He is, not just for what He can give. This depth of relationship prepares you for blessings that require spiritual stability rather than emotional excitement. Maturity is developed in the waiting season. Immaturity demands instant results, but maturity understands process and timing. While you wait, you learn endurance. You learn how to remain consistent even when progress feels slow. You learn how to manage disappointment without losing hope. These lessons shape your ability to handle responsibility with wisdom and balance. A major blessing without maturity can lead to confusion, fear, or misuse, which is why God allows growth before release. Obedience is also refined during silence. When instructions are clear and rewards are immediate, obedience is easier. But when God is quiet and outcomes are uncertain, obedience becomes a true act of faith. Choosing to do what is right even when you do not see immediate results strengthens spiritual discipline. This kind of obedience builds a foundation that will sustain you when greater demands come with greater blessings. Humility grows naturally in waiting. Silence reminds you that God's plans are not controlled by human timelines. It teaches you to accept that you do not know everything, and that God's ways are higher than your own. Humility keeps you grounded and teachable. Without it, success can lead to pride and distraction. With it, blessings are handled with gratitude and responsibility. Though waiting feels slow and silence feels uncomfortable, these seasons are never wasted. God is shaping your inner life, aligning your heart, and preparing your character. When the blessing finally arrives, you will realize that the waiting protected you, the silence strengthened you, and the process prepared you to receive something big without losing direction. God may remove people, habits, or opportunities from your life before giving you something big, and this can be one of the most painful parts of the journey. When something familiar is taken away, it often feels like loss or rejection. You may question what you did wrong, or why things that once mattered so much are suddenly gone. Yet this removal is rarely meant to harm you. More often, it is an act of redirection. God sees where you are going, and He knows what cannot go with you into the next season. People are sometimes removed because not everyone is meant to walk with you forever. Some relationships are seasonal, created to support a particular phase of growth. When that phase ends, the relationship may no longer align with where God is leading you. Holding on too tightly can delay progress. God may distance you from voices that limit your faith, drain your energy, or keep you tied to old versions of yourself. Though the separation hurts, it creates space for healthier connections that support your purpose. Habits may also be challenged or removed during this time. Things that once seemed harmless or comforting may begin to feel heavy or unfulfilling. God often exposes habits that distract you from growth or weaken your discipline. This is not about control, but about freedom. Unhealthy patterns can quietly limit your potential. By removing them, God is strengthening your ability to focus, grow, and live with intention. What feels like restriction is often protection. Opportunities too may disappear unexpectedly. Doors you thought were meant for you may close without explanation. This can be confusing, especially when you invested time, effort, and prayer into them. Yet not every open door leads to the right destination. God may close opportunities that look good on the surface, but would ultimately distract you from your calling. He may be protecting you from settling for less than what He has planned. Closed doors often prevent future regret. This process of removal brings clarity. As distractions fade, your vision becomes sharper. You begin to see what truly matters and what aligns with God's purpose for your life. Though the path may feel lonely at times, alignment requires focus. Carrying unnecessary attachments can slow you down and weigh you down. God removes what is heavy, so you can move freely toward what is greater. Redirection also strengthens trust. Letting go requires faith, especially when the future is unclear. God asks you to believe that what He is taking away cannot compare to what He is preparing. This trust builds courage and obedience. It teaches you to follow God even when the path is unfamiliar. What you lose in one season is often replaced with something far better in another. God never removes without intention. He clears space for growth, peace, and purpose. Though the process may feel uncomfortable, it is a sign that your life is being aligned with something bigger. What no longer fits your future must be released, so you can step fully into what God has prepared for you. Your faith will be tested more than ever when God is preparing to do something big in your life. Moments will arise where belief feels harder than before, and questions you never struggled with may suddenly surface. Doubt may whisper that your prayers are unanswered. Fear may tell you that you are not strong enough, and opposition may appear from unexpected places. These experiences can be unsettling, but they are not signs of failure. They are signs of growth. Faith that has never been tested cannot be trusted to carry great responsibility. Testing reveals the depth of your faith. When everything is going well, it is easy to believe. But when circumstances contradict what you are praying for, faith is stretched. God allows these moments so you can move from shallow belief to deep trust. This kind of faith is not based on feelings or outcomes, but on confidence in who God is. Through testing, faith becomes rooted, steady, and unshakable. Fear often increases during this season, because stepping into something greater always carries uncertainty. You may fear failure, rejection, or loss. God does not remove fear instantly. Instead, He teaches you how to walk through it. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to trust God despite it. Each time you choose faith over fear, your confidence in God's faithfulness grows stronger. Opposition can also intensify. When you commit to growth, resistance often follows. Challenges may multiply, and discouragement may feel heavier. This opposition is not meant to stop you, but to strengthen you. Just as resistance strengthens muscles, spiritual resistance strengthens faith. You learn perseverance, endurance, and reliance on God's strength rather than your own. These lessons are essential for handling success without becoming overwhelmed or prideful. Strong faith is necessary to sustain big blessings. Influence, success, and responsibility can be just as challenging as hardship. Without a solid spiritual foundation, blessings can lead to distraction, pride, or burnout. Faith keeps you grounded. It reminds you where your strength comes from and who your life truly belongs to. God wants you to remain focused on Him, not on the gift itself. Through testing, you learn obedience even when understanding is limited. You learn to pray when answers are delayed and to trust when outcomes are uncertain. This builds spiritual maturity. Mature faith does not demand explanations. It rests in God's character. That kind of faith can withstand pressure without collapsing. In time, you will realize that every test strengthened you. Doubt taught you to seek truth. Fear taught you to depend on God's presence. Opposition taught you endurance. None of it was wasted. God was building a foundation strong enough to support what He is about to give you. When the blessing comes, you will not be easily shaken. Your faith will be anchored, your focus clear, and your heart steady. What once tested you will now sustain you, proving that the trials were not obstacles, but preparation for something greater. When God is preparing to bless you, a quiet but powerful transformation begins to take place within you. Your desires start to shift, and the things that once mattered most no longer hold the same weight. Comfort, ease, and personal gain slowly lose their appeal, while purpose, meaning, and alignment with God's will become more important. This change does not happen suddenly, but it unfolds gradually as your heart becomes more sensitive to God's direction. You begin to value purpose over comfort. Situations that once satisfied you may start to feel empty if they lack meaning. You may find yourself less interested in what feels good in the moment and more concerned with what is right in the long run. This shift can feel uncomfortable because purpose often requires sacrifice. It may ask you to endure challenges, remain patient, or choose paths that are not the easiest. Yet this willingness to choose purpose shows growth. God prepares you to carry something greater by teaching you that fulfillment comes not from comfort, but from living in alignment with His plan. Obedience also becomes more important than convenience. You start making choices based on faith rather than ease. Even when obedience costs you time, comfort, or approval, you feel compelled to do what honors God. This is a sign of spiritual maturity. Convenience seeks shortcuts, but obedience builds character. God knows that blessings often come with responsibility, and responsibility requires discipline. By teaching you obedience now, He ensures that you will be able to handle greater influence without losing integrity. Your perspective on success begins to change as well. Instead of measuring life by external achievements or recognition, you begin to care more about impact and faithfulness. You ask deeper questions about why you do what you do and who it serves. This shift guards your heart against pride and selfish ambition. God does not bless simply to elevate individuals, but to accomplish His purpose through them. A transformed perspective allows you to see blessings as tools for service rather than symbols of status. This inner change also brings clarity. As distractions lose their hold, your vision becomes sharper. You begin to recognize what aligns with God's direction and what does not. Decisions become less about impulse and more about discernment. This clarity is essential for handling responsibility without confusion or regret. There is also a deeper sense of surrender that develops. You become more willing to let go of personal plans in order to follow God's leading. Trust replaces control. You realize that God's plans are greater than your own, and you find peace in yielding to His wisdom. This surrender prepares you to receive blessings with humility rather than entitlement. When this transformation takes place, it is a sign that you are becoming ready. God is shaping your heart to carry not just a blessing, but an assignment. The change in your desires and perspective reflects readiness to walk in purpose, handle responsibility, and fulfill God's plan with faith, obedience, and humility.